Game Time Network is proudly sponsored by Matt Gaddis at State Farm. If you need help with car or renter's insurance, Matt Gaddis has you covered. And we are also powered by our friends at Wired to the Nines. For any low voltage needs, reach out to them via email at wiredtothenines@yahoo.com. And don't forget about our friends over at Big Z Sports Grill. If you're looking for a great time and some great food, head over to Big Z Sports Grill on Brookville Road in Indianapolis. Thank you to all our sponsors for supporting the Game
Hello,
Time
everybody.
Network.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Side by Side. Sorry for the little 2-week break there. I know we have a couple new fans after our event at Big Z's 2 weeks ago. Didn't have a show 2 weeks ago, obviously, because it was the week of Easter. So we didn't have NASCAR, we didn't have F1 or IndyCar. Last week, NBA playoffs kicked off, so that's where a lot of our coverage went. Brandon had a tooth thing going on. And trust me, I know how that can be. I think I'm starting to develop a wisdom tooth issue. I hope I'm wrong, but
I hope you're wrong. I'm getting mine taken out this coming Monday. And
well, I know I got to get
done
mine
at 41 is a problem.
I know I got to get mine taken out here soon. So, but I think I may have a wisdom tooth issue. So I'll have to probably get those done in the next year or so. But we're gonna get into it today. We've got a lot to talk about. Brandon, first thing I want to ask you before we even get going, Ty Gibbs getting a win last week. What were your thoughts on that one?
Long time coming for him. I thought everything kind of played out right for him to get his win. Now, listen, he's been running great all season, right? I mean, when we talk this coming race that we just had as well, he had a third place start. I think he finished top 10, if I do believe. Long time coming. It was great to see him be able to run up front. I think the kid has got a shot in the future to run big, and maybe he leaves. Maybe he doesn't go to with the Gibbs family and all that stuff, and he goes to one of the bigger names down the road. But hey, when you can run it at Bristol for 500 laps, dude, that means something special. A lot of big time people winning there. Earnhardt, Rusty, Gordon, right? So yeah, for this young kid to get his win like that, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, no, I was super, shocked, honestly, just because it felt like Blaney had that race won. They choose to keep Gibbs out. Gibbs wins the race. And now, obviously, we already had a race this week, which we're about to talk about. Ty Gibbs, fourth in the standings behind Blaney, Hamlin, and Reddick. Obviously, we'll talk about Tyler Reddick here in a little bit. But let's swing over to IndyCar. We did have races on the IndyCar side as well. And looking at the points, which I'll put on screen here in just a second, Alex Palou continuing, or I believe he regained the lead this week or last week, one of the two. So he regains the lead, and it's definitely going to be interesting for sure. Kirkwood with 188 sitting in second place, with the gaps you're definitely starting to see the gaps.
Yeah, I thought, looking at the standings, Palou, he would rise to the top there before long, and Kirkwood and Andretti, hanging in there tough. They had the lead for the beginning part of the season for a bit. I think the biggest surprise for me, I guess not surprise. I'm surprised. I knew he could run well. I think the biggest surprise is that he's leading all of his Team Penske teammates as Malukas. He's led more laps than his other two teammates there, Newgard and McLaughlin. And how well he's done. I think that's a name you got to watch this coming up here in 3 weeks for the Grand Prix, because we are in the best month ever, especially here in this city. The Indianapolis 500, the Moto, and the Grand Prix coming up. So I don't think they do double points anymore for the 500. I think they got away from that. But yeah, I'm impressed with how Malukas has ran. And to be honest, I know I'm a McLaren guy. O'Ward and Lundgaard are sitting right there at fourth and fifth. But I kind of expected Pato to have a win by now this year. So maybe this is the year of the 500. He's had so many close years and at the end, but I expected him to at least have a win by now, and we're not seeing it yet.
Man, well, the whole field better get ready with Helio coming back. I mean, I think he's going to be a threat regardless of what car he's in. I think the field's going to have to be prepared for Helio, especially if he has a good car that day. Obviously, qualifying and practice and everything else will take into account. The road course next on the schedule for them?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
It'll be there at the road course. I will say, because I had somebody ask me, and we've picked up some new followers through my racing league. I do online, so shout out to those guys that have started to watch and
Mhm.
listen. But we had a conversation. I had a conversation with a guy the other day about Mick Schumacher because Mick Schumacher's on all these New York Good Morning shows and across. I mean, the IndyCar is putting Mick Schumacher's name out there, right?
Yeah.
Trying to get Formula One name, famous dad, getting an IndyCar, trying to get him. This dude, 24th in points. I ain't ever seen a push for somebody that's 24th in points, but you could just feel the IndyCar is really trying to push that name and push a different genre from Formula One that maybe they're getting tired of hearing all the complaining and whatnot, and they want to switch over to a different series, which I would almost say right now, I mean, I know we've had Kirkwood as a winner, Newgarden as a winner this year, Polo's won 3. A little more parity. But I
Yeah.
think for Mick Schumacher to be successful, I think he just needs to run complete full races this year. I think that's going to be the best thing for his success is just to finish the races. I think for Indy 500, Mick, I think he's got to at least compete 130, 140 laps at the Indy 500.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be considered successful for him and his team.
Well, I give Mick a lot of credit. Obviously, yeah. He's 24th in points. Hasn't been a great year, but I give him credit. I give Grosjean credit. I don't think a lot of the F1 guys would even think about going to IndyCar just because of the ovals. So I give IndyCar I give those guys a lot of credit.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen Grosjean have a little bit of success in the series. I think if Mick stays with it, I think Mick will eventually get comfortable at some point. It just depends how long he chooses to stick with it. Early Indy 500 winner prediction. I feel like you can't say. I feel like you can't say Palou. Obviously, this isn't like a for sure statement. We're going to see how qualifying and all that goes, but early guesses right now. I know it kind of feels like it's a guess though, because I don't think Palou's the favorite going in.
Man, gun to head here in April. McLaughlin,
Okay.
a Penske team car.
I was gonna say Will Power just because maybe he gets a good.
Could
maybe,
be, man.
Maybe he can wake up.
There's just so much that's going to happen this month of May, and I'll make sure. I try to do like a little quick daily 2-minute update just on practices and stuff that I'm hearing and all that stuff through practices each day. But there's just so much that could happen. I mean, McLaughlin could have the fastest car through practice and qualifying, and then on hard day puts it in the wall, right? I think he's got something that he has to prove this year because he didn't get started last year, if you remember, right? He crashed on the parade lap. So wouldn't that be a rag to riches type of story? And I know we're talking rag to riches for a Penske team, but wouldn't that be something for him there? I would like to see an Andretti team go to the victory lane. I think it's always special when the Andretti can get in the winner's circle over those years.
Yeah.
Gun to head, give me McLaughlin to win, and I don't think you can take out Scott Dixon. I think Ganassi and then we'll get it figured out.
There you go.
By then.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I'm gonna throw Will Power out there just because I know it hasn't been the best year, but maybe he can get something going come the month of May. Let's go over to NASCAR. Tyler Reddick, 5th win. Very, very big win for Tyler Reddick. We're not even going to talk about people that are talking about Toyota, 2311, the haters. He is flat out winning.
Keep talking for a second. I got to grab something. I forgot. Keep talking.
All good. He had the best car. and he got the job done. He passed Larson on the last lap. There's something called getting a big run. And I think people, complaining this week, he's going to continue to run well, and he may even get another win. He may get multiple wins by the end of the year. Like I said, when he won three races already, I said, this is not the best look for the chase format because, it's not the best look for the chase format already, just because if Tyler Reddick doesn't win this championship and say he's got 9 wins or 10 wins, I don't know how happy people are going to be. But, I'd be curious to see a Winston Cup format of this. And when we get to that cutoff for the chase, how close is it, before they reset, and how close is it? Because I know somebody on Twitter does the Winston Cup format. How close is it to that when we get to the first race of the 10-race chase? Because, I think either way, Hamlin's probably going to pick up another win. I think Blaney will get another win. Larson, Elliott, Byron, the Chevrolets definitely have been the weakest of the bunch. The Chevys have, but I think we'll see them get some wins as well. But man,
we talked about them.
Yeah,
we talked about them. Holding back maybe because right now you're hitting the tracks that are going to be in the chase, so maybe they're not going to show everything. They're kind of seeing what they got, what they might need to work on for it. Because also, I'm not hearing a lot of complaints from the Chevy teams too much regarding it. Right.
Yeah.
I will say everything I've heard this past week, talking with my guys and online talk. I had to get the aluminum foil because the tin hat is on. All right. There's the tin hat.
Okay.
That the tin hat is the fact that people believe, and this is the crazy tin hat, that due to the Jordan 2311 lawsuit with NASCAR,
Yep.
that instead of a big monetary payout to Jordan, they've gotten that early competitive advantage through NASCAR. Now, I will say it's very convenient.
They're getting the better parts or something.
Yeah, very convenient, Isaiah. The only caution flag that comes out is after Tyler Reddick gets passed and says he starts panicking that he's out of gas on Sunday when Denny retook the lead. And NASCAR's like, oh, shoot, we got to have a quick caution. That caution came out so quick after the car just started spinning. They didn't even give that car a chance to get around to maybe get it together to go like they normally do. That came out instantly. So my 10 hat people, hey, aliens in Area 51, NASCAR and that.
I don't think they have an argument, and I say this because there's been plenty times in my fandom where they love to throw out the caution with a little bit of laps to go just to bunch the field back up. This isn't because they wanted Tyler Reddick in victory lane. If they could have had
I think they wanted to make it exciting because it was a boring race.
If they could have had Kyle Larson in victory lane, they would have taken that. If they don't really, I don't think they really care who's in victory lane at the end of the day. I thought
it was a boring race, if you ask me. Besides, and that's why they also had to throw it there late because, hey, let's bunch up this field. Let's try to make it exciting. Because you had and everybody pitted, which that's great, right? Get your pit stops, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, all them. How well it went. But man, Reddick and them finding a way. They found the magic sauce. They have figured out something with this. The Toyotas have figured out this next gen car. They have figured it out. Now, I will say I heard on the podcast the other night. I think Corey LaJoy was talking on there. I don't know if you've seen the clip or not.
About Trackhouse?
About Trackhouse and Ganassi. They took over the Ganassi garages and they gave a spot to the GM Tech, right? GM Tech got to work out of that last stall there for that garage. It's usually a 3 or 4 car garage for Ganassi. And so they just had to walk down the hallway to get information, to get, hey, questions on this with GM. And what they do, Trackhouse, I think Ross Chastain won 5 or 6 races, second in the points. They were running really great. Once GM left there, and same thing with RCR, because RCR had it as well. They were ahead of the 8 ball. Now they're all behind the 8 ball. RCR and Trackhouse, both of them are, right? I think Corey LaJoy is onto something there. Like, man, you were the first cutting edge of it. But now everybody's caught up,
You're
and you're slipping.
the more and more we've talked about it as the year goes on, the more it's rung true. Trackhouse has to go to Dodge when it's time. It would
Yeah.
be a shame if they stuck with Chevy, because you're just not you're not the golden boy. There was a chance that you could be up there with Hendrick, and it's great that I think they share data and whatever, but like you just said, I mean Hendrick, it's Hendrick and Chevy. Joe Gibbs is with Toyota, even though 2311's basically the secondary one there. Oh, could be the primary.
Is there a chance? Is there a chance Chastain could be in that 48 that Hendrick takes him? The more I think about it,
I don't know.
I think there's a greater chance for that than Kyle Busch now, because he's not happy with the way Trackhouse is performing.
Yeah,
he can't be.
I would say Corey Haim's still the biggest one for me. So he's not a free agent this year. Larson's a free agent. Well, that's not going to change. Bowman's a free agent. Obviously, Kyle Busch we've talked about. Reddick is a free agent. But
you don't think they do a buyout?
There's
that money with that Trackhouse can't be that too much to do a buyout for Hendrick.
I think, like I said, I think Hendrick is gonna still keep Bowman. Look, I'm a 48 fan. Like, if I could show you the amounts of 48 gear sitting behind this computer, I'm a 48 fan. I like everyone else at Hendrick, but I'm a 48 fan at heart. Because of Jimmy, who I would call the GOAT. I know I may get slashed on Twitter and everywhere else for calling him the GOAT, but that is the GOAT for me. All respect to Dale and Richard, of course. But I think Rick's going to bring Bowman back, which we've talked about. Are we going to continue to give Bowman chance after chance after chance when he has an injury or an illness or something? That's been his issue the last couple of years. I get it. This is racing, not sports, but I think it goes to, if you can't be there, eventually you got to figure it out. But at the same time, when you're Rick, it's, well, we've got Larson, we've got Elliott, we've got Byron. Do we really need to figure this out right now? Like, do we need to figure out who to put in this car right now?
How shocked are you with the performance so far with Connor Zilic? 33rd in points.
I'm a little. I'm definitely shocked, but I think the next gen car is so different from every car in NASCAR right now. I think it's a learning adjustment, but I think it's also Trackhouse. I think it's
it's 100% Trackhouse. Yeah,
I think
they're all struggling.
I think it's a matter of both. I think the car is very different from the Xfinity series. I love that Connor's racing in both series. Because he shows how talented he is when he goes to O'Reilly in the wins. He won at Bristol, right? In the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, which, by the way, we got to talk about O'Reilly today too, just because there was some news that came out. And then you look at Trackhouse, yeah, they just haven't been performing well, and I think it goes back to what we talked about very early on in the show's history. Mm-hmm. When you're Trackhouse, if Dodge is coming to the Cup Series next year, which I think they are, you've got to leave. You got to be the first team to contact Dodge and be like, whenever you are going to Cup, let us know. If Spire beats you to the punch, if any of these teams, Spire, RFK, whoever beats you to the punch, hell, Junior Motorsports comes up, Colleague, you have to be ready to say, hey, we're first in line. We want to be the team for Dodge. And Justin Marks and them have to be ready for that, because you're not going to do it at Chevy.
Can I give you my old man beef I have?
Go ahead.
I have it on my other show with Jonathan, where he's the older man, so he gets to take his beef. But with us, I'm the older one here with us too. So, and I heard a guy say this the other day, and then I actually had a conversation with some guys at work regarding it. With NASCAR's marketing and where they're trying to get people in the audiences, right, for viewership of races, attendance for races, because from what I've seen through the first, 9 races, attendance is just down from where it was last year so far through the first 9 races. It's down.
Yeah.
Viewership is a little I mean, besides not knowing where the hell to view a practice or a qualifying, because you don't know which one of the 7 channels it's going to be on for that. But with race teams, you don't have an identity. There's no connection really with the driver and the fan slash versus the brand, right? So if I ask you, Jimmy Johnson, what's the brand that connects with you, Jimmy Johnson?
I mean, the Lowe's,
Lowe's,
Tim and
perfect.
Canals, yeah,
Yep. If
everything.
I tell you Jeff Gordon, what was the brand?
DuPont, the
DuPont.
rainbow
Dale
colors.
Earnhardt, what? GM Goodwrench, Rusty Wallace, Miller Lite, Terry Labonte, Kellogg's, Mark Martin, Valvoline, right? You're building that connection. You see that same color car out there, that same brand, that sponsorship on the side of that car. People these days have no clue. It takes forever to figure out who is who and what color scheme. I understand all the marketing and trying to get the flashiness and all these sponsors, but there's no loyalty towards it to where what what was Daniel Suarez's sponsor this past week?
Couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell
I,
you.
and
Denny
you know,
Hamlin, like,
I saw a video about this. It was actually from a JGR guy. He's on TikTok. He does a lot of videos.
okay.
And he explained that, they would, as much as they loved the 36 races and stuff like that, different sponsors want to market for different areas. So, like, if Mountain Dew wants to come on for 2 races, they're marketing in that area for a reason. Some sponsors may want 36 races because they want to market all in those different areas and demographics, and some of them have become more specified where they're like, okay, our sales are down in Bristol or wherever in that area or that state. Okay, we'll sponsor you for this race and maybe in the Nashville race as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I think he kind of explained how different the business is now, and he did say he's like, you have one sponsor you for 36 races, or you have 4 sponsors sponsor you throughout 36 races. We're making more money. And I admit that comes at a cost because,
right.
Like you just said, when I got into the sport, Lowe's was on Jimmy Johnson's car every week. Office Depot was on Tony Stewart's car every week. When I joined the sport, I knew Logano for Home Depot and I knew Stewart for Office Depot. But I've been watching the sport since I was little, so I remember a time when Stewart had the Home Depot 20. But from consciousness, Logano was in the Home Depot 20. Hamlin was in the FedEx. Kyle Busch was the candy guy, whether it was spearmint gum,
Skittles, M&M,
Snickers, yeah. So I get it. It's a frustrating watch. I think even more so than them not having the sponsor on a car week to week, they need to be in more of these commercials week to week. Martin Truex Jr. and Michael Waltrip in the Napa Know-How commercial, Logano in the Home Depot commercial, Jimmy Johnson, I remember being frequently in Lowe's commercials. People got to do it. There's got to be
That's just
more
my old man thought process. Like, I liked it back in the day because, like, when I'm seeing on the track, I'm like, okay, oh, he's not in that. He's in this color car this time, and this is the sponsor this time. It's like so. And I think if you want to continue to build success and loyalty, and for that, and for the casual fan that may want to associate this driver with this brand, I think that's kind of what I got to somewhat get back to. Like Chase, we all acknowledge Chases with Napa, right? Napa's the big. Like I think of Chase Elliott, I think of Napa. So. And you get some of that Brass Pro Shops with Austin Dillon, right? Those type, but I think they need to do a little bit better of a job with it. Did you see that they did tire practice yesterday, testing at Chicagoland?
I did see that.
Yeah, looked like Allgaier, I guess, had a crash in turn 4 with his tire test. So a little bit more work to do there at Chicagoland before the race comes up, but I think they can get the tires and everything figured back out. Should be pretty easy. It's not that crazy of a track type of layout. They've got some cookie cutters like it.
Yeah. I one last thing before we start to wrap this up. There was talk, Adam Stern posted it on Twitter about the O'Reilly series being turned into a crossover body series or an SUV series. Something like that. I'm pulling up an article real quick because man, I don't like this move at all. So I'm going to pull it up for us. NASCAR executives suggest potential massive overhaul for O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. NASCAR EVP John Prost is helping plan the future of stock car racing into the 2030s, including evaluating the potential of one day using its crossover utility vehicle EV in the O'Reilly series, as well as experimenting with a hydro combustion engine. So that was talked. That was an article that was put out this week by Adam Stern. I don't like the move. The article just basically explains how the O'Reilly Autos, how they would like to give that series its own, look, its own identity. The trucks are the trucks. Cup Series is the Cup Series with the Camaros and the. I don't like that change in the middle because we don't need an SUV series basically.
No, this is part of your build up towards the big leagues, right? To prove yourself with that type of car, but a different generation type of car. But we don't need the EV. Like, create a whole new series if you want NASCAR and put some people in that. But we don't need to. Don't, because there is, and I will say there is some people that are diehard. I'm going to call it Xfinity. I'll call it Busch Grand National from way back in the day. There's some diehards that prefer that series over the Cup Series.
And I mean, even right now, there's just so much talk about how well the ratings are for the O'Reilly Auto Parts series and the ratings on the CW compared to the Cup Series, where the Cup Series it's like up and down because they're on different networks, Fox over FS1. But I talked. Obviously we weren't doing the Game Time Network before, they inked that TV deal. But even when that TV deal came out and we found out a lot of the races were going to be out on FS1, it's like, okay, well, you're giving up exposure for money. Well, let's see how that works out for you. And I don't think NASCAR really cares. And honestly, I'm starting to, and in my opinion, why would you? The ratings are so wishy-washy. It's hard to buy into TV ratings when people can watch wherever they want to at some point. When they go to HBO Max or not HBO Max. Well, yeah, when they go to HBO Max, they'll be on TNT. So you got two options to watch. How many people are watching on HBO Max? Probably a good amount. When they go to Amazon, I know people don't like that move, but like I said regarding the NBA, there's other ways to watch it without paying for it. I promise you.
Boy, I won't get into it. Me trying to find one of the first round the play-in games and finding that damn thing on Amazon after searching every single channel and network.
Yeah.
Whew.
I get it. I know people aren't happy with the bouncing around.
I'm just a mean, grumpy old man. That's all it is.
No, I think streaming's the future. I agree. There's got to be a fix, but I said it on Sunday's Game Time Live show. I said we're getting to the point where it's starting to get monopolized. I said there's going to be 4 tent poles. There's going to be Amazon Prime. There's going to be basically Paramount, HBO, because Warner Brothers is getting bought by Paramount. Then there's Netflix, then there's Disney Plus. Obviously Tubi will still be around, but nobody's buying Tubi, so that's fine. There will be 4 tent poles here in the next year because HBO Max isn't going to be a thing much longer. So I think all these sports and all these leagues want to continue to use multiple different streaming services. Well, you're eventually going to run out of options because if Paramount's buying HBO, well, eventually Paramount's going to get bought out too. Because when you buy somebody else, you're clearly just trying to hold yourself out from being bought out as well.
Yep. So. One of my favorite races this week, real quick, Talladega. So looking forward to it. Super Speedway racing. I'm going to get to a race down there still. I told my guys I'm going to get down there. I haven't been able to get to that track yet, but looking forward to that race. The high intensity 3-4 wide, and then the crapshoot at the end. We see. This is also where I like to throw a little bit of bucks on some darts because you never know who the hell could end up winning this one. And if I would have done some research, I would have gave you some. Maybe I'll put it on Twitter. I'll put it on Twitter later this week of some guys I'm going to bet on, and on the Facebook page. That way we can get some guys to do it. So,
okay.
Back to racing, my man. Now next week I'll be out. Unfortunately, guys, I've got major surgery next week, so I won't be able to talk, which my wife will be glad to hear all week. So we're not doing the Crossroads show either next week. John's going to do his own thing, but I think in 2 weeks we'll be back. Maybe, yeah, and I'll put some highlights. Maybe if I get towards the end of the week, if I can talk, I'll put something out regarding
There
the
you go.
races.
I will do a show next week. Last week I was supposed to do a show, but man, NBA was getting started. We had playing games all week. It took it took priority over a little bit, but we don't want to neglect our racing fans. So we will be back next week for the show. One race I want to get to this year, and I think I'm going to go, is the Truck Series and the the ARCA series are coming to IRP.
It's a fantastic place.
I went to IRP when I was little. I think Ricky Stenhouse won the race at the time, where he was actually still a hot commodity. I think I'm going to go. I'm getting my girlfriend into NASCAR a little bit. It's been an interesting teaching. I got her in NFL.
Okay.
She already liked NBA. We're going to see if we can. I don't think NASCAR is going to work. I understand it's a niche. But we'll see how it goes. We're going to go to IRP in June. And we'll see how that goes. You may have to, I was going to ask, you may have to come with us.
Yeah.
I know people want us to go to the speed drum, so we gotta get that figured out too.
100%. I would love to go back out to IRP. It's been about 7-8 years since I've been. I loved it back in the day when even the Xfinity, I'll call it the Xfinity because that's what it's always going to be to me. Busch Grand Nationals, then they were there. And I always loved that race. I hated that they took that to the big track because that's the type of super short speedway that you need. That those type of cars are perfect for those guys on a short track Saturday night in Indianapolis, right? So now we got it on Friday night with the trucks. It's either Friday or Thursday. I forget which one. I think ARCA's Thursday or Wednesday.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a weird lineup the way they have it, but yeah, I'd be down to look for it.
Okay.
So
all right. Well, folks, that is gonna do it. We will see you guys next week for another episode of Side by Side presented by the Game Time Network and Crossroads Sports. We'll see you guys soon.